Hi everyone, it's Frederick Kramer here, and today's video is going to be about how we can use our subconscious to work on levels that you have probably never been seeing yourself working on before. As always, you will work a lot faster and therefore achieve your goals faster, obviously probably like 2 or times the volume that you're used to right now per day. In case you don't know me yet, my name is Frederick Kramer and I'm on a mission to revolutionize productivity by helping agency owners double, triple or quadruple the speed at which they get rich. So without further ado, let's get into that. The bias or the subconscious thing that we want to use, literally every single human has that, so there's no doubt that you can use that, is called the anchoring bias. Okay, when I discovered that for the first time, obviously I didn't know like the term for that. It was the first time where I saw myself literally like working like a lot faster than I was used to. I was like, whoa, like there are levels to this, and there's nobody else actually doing that and working as quick as I am when I'm using that bias. Sometimes I catch myself not actually using that, and then I'm getting pretty pissed off because I'm so slow. But what we want to do, like I said, is we want to use the anchoring bias. And as you probably don't know that yet, I want to quickly explain how that works. So the anchoring bias is a I'm just going to give you an example because I think it's easier to understand. So for example, when I say $1,000,000, if I after that then talk about something with that costs $1,000, then you're going to think that $1,000 isn't that much. But when I start talking about $50 and then I start talking about $1,000 in some context, then you're going to think that $1,000 is much. And that is because obviously our brain works off of comparison, and the comparison always starts with an anchor. And the anchor is sort of the first thing that you see, and the thing afterwards is just going to be compared to that. And this is, for example, when people on sales calls or something are talking about the price, or on like sales page, right? They're saying like $12,000 of value, and you can get this for only 47 a month or something, and then they have a retainer, right? But this is how we use this, and you're probably aware of that when you're having an agency or something. And this is pretty cool because we can use this to make our work more stressful. And this is not a negative thing because this stress is just pushing us to be quicker than we actually are. And in comparison to when you're using this bias, you're probably usually just operating at like 30% of your potential or something. And to give you an example, in your past, you probably had to finish an exam or something in a quite short period of time. And like 1 day or 2 days before you had to get it done, you probably just started only at that point. But then you were really quick, and suddenly you were extremely productive because you knew, okay, at that day I have to get this done, and otherwise it's going to be that's going to be very bad for myself. And that's where the humans push themselves. But for some reason, when we work on our day-to-day lives, people don't really do this. Yeah, sometimes they have a deadline and they maybe have some standards when they want to get something finished, but we don't take this to an extreme, or to the extreme where it's just going to, obviously not too far, but where it's actually helping us, right? And if we have if we use that anchoring bias when we want to get something done, it's like I said, it's applying stress, and it sets ourselves in this fight or flight mode. And suddenly we're not complacent anymore. We're not procrastinating on anything. We're just focusing on the thing that will get us out of our painful situation and out of the stressful situation. And this will suddenly make us extremely focused. And when you have a certain deadline, for example, when someone's trying to distract you at work, you just no, I have to work on this now, because you know that there's no way that a certain like random interaction can fit into the plan that you have, like in the time that you have left to get to the deadline. And same thing, like you're not going to suddenly get bored and do something else if you know at that point in time I want to finish that. And it's extremely powerful. And this is essentially the way that you can use stress. And I want to stress that again. That pun not intended. Intended? I don't know. Stress is not always a bad thing, right? Obviously, when people talk about, yeah, stress is not so good, they're talking about chronic stress and things that are constantly, stressing you, obviously, like I said. But these are not so healthy. But there's also a positive version of stress. So the bad stress is called distress, and the other one I think is called eustress or something like EU stress in English. And this is, for example, when you're having like, let's say you're out there like with a friend of yours, and you're like who can run fast or something, like just as a little game, right? This is going to give you like a positive form of stress because you know that you can get more out of yourself, and this is nothing that someone else is forcing on you, right? And you can give yourself like a ton of stress, but it's just not going to be so negative if you're just doing this by yourself and just out of what you want and not what somebody else wants. And now you're probably thinking, okay, but how can I actually use this? You use this by the next time when you want to work on something and you have some idea of how long it's going to take. If you don't have that, then just skip it for that task. But you're going to think, okay, how long is this going to take me? And you're just going to anchor yourself to a certain time or point of time that you want to use, or where you think, okay, if I will finish the task in that time frame, it will be pretty good, right? And of course, one caveat to this is if you stress yourself and you give yourself less time, of course, you will start, at some point, you will start to apply the 80-20 rule, right? And you're going to leave some things out. And if you stress this too much, then your work is going to be of less quality. But let's put it this way, like the problem is only going to, it's like an exponential thing, right? If you give yourself like so much stress, your quality is still good, but suddenly it's like way worse, if that makes sense, or it's the other way around, right? So for a very long time, your results will still be close to what you will do if you didn't put yourself into a stressful situation. So you use that anchoring time, and then you literally just set yourself a timer whilst you want to work, and then you just have to keep the timer in your field of vision, and then you just keep looking at that, and then you will be anchored. Okay, this is going to take me so long, and then there's no different way, right? And you chose the time that you picked there when you wanted to work on something. If you just pick like double the time, you will probably just do the self in double the time and think, okay, yeah, now it's done, right? And anchoring is incredibly powerful. And by the way, I'm using this right now. I can see that I have 15 minutes left for the start of making this video. I honestly think I will get this done quite, a lot faster. But if you saw like the last two videos, they took me a lot longer to make. And these videos are also long, and I wasted some time making these, and I didn't want to continue with that. So I just started to use this right now. And one last example, or if you're thinking like, where has Frederick got this from? I have got this from the book Deep Work, actually. You're probably familiar with that book. And this book, essentially, in case you don't know it, it's about just increasing your focus. And one way to do this, or to get like to the next level of focus that you don't really have usually, is just to stress yourself. And that's what I've got that from. So, like I said, next time you work on something, pick a time, anchor yourself to that time, and you do this by setting a timer, and then just put that timer next to you, maybe on your phone, maybe you have like an extra timer or something like that, and then you just look like how the time is elapsing, and then you just do the stuff and watch yourself being stressed by the time essentially, and yeah, that's how you do it. And this will, if you get used to that and set yourself like things on a interval where it's not like impossible to do it, but still stressful and not like way too comfortable, you'll see yourself literally doubling or tripling your productivity. I'm not joking here, because if we don't do this, then we're just going to take as long as our comfortable as we ourselves in our comfortable state would take for that task. If you want to scale an agency, but at the end of each day you feel like you could have done 10 times more, there's a link in the description where you can see how we can help you beyond these videos. Doesn't matter to me really if you click that or not. What matters to me is that your time is being saved, so I wanted to leave that door open. That's everything for this video today. And if you want YouTube to recommend you more of these videos, then feel free to like, subscribe and comment. And I genuinely respect that you watched this video to the end, because it's going to help you a ton on your journey. Thanks for watching, mate, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.